Hi, everyone. This is Pastor Teresa at Beaver Ridge United Methodist Church. Thank you for joining me for tea time on this Tuesday afternoon. It's a little hot and muggy out there. We are enjoying the sunshine, though, today. And later this evening, there's going to be some rough storms heading our way. So I hope everybody will do what they need to do and find their way to being safe this evening. And the storms pass over us and not cause any kind of harm. But no matter what happens to the weather, we all know that God is with us each and every day. So no matter what we're going through, know and be aware that the presence of the Lord is with us. I want to share a story. We actually talked about it on Sunday and continue on with a little bit more storytelling to tell you. So this is a story about where Jesus knows that it's time to start heading back towards Jerusalem and towards the cross and the crucifixion and death and so forth. He stops into a place, the Caesarea Philippi, and it is an area that is known for worshiping a lot of different false gods. So they're in this area. There's a lot of people in there that's different, coming from different places and backgrounds and religions and so forth. It's a perfect place to stop in the middle of all this, where people have lots of different beliefs. And he asks his disciples, "Who do they say that I am?" Well, some say this, some say you're Elijah, some say you're Jeremiah, the prophets, and this and that. But then Jesus turns it into them. I mean, he had been with them for 3 years. What do they think? And he says, "Who do you say that I am?" And Peter steps up in his boldness, and he gets it right, and he says, "You are the Messiah." And Jesus says, that information can only come from the Father. Well done. And your name is no longer going to be Simon, but Peter. And Peter means rock. And upon this rock, I will build your church. I will build my church. I will build my church. This is Jesus saying that. And so names matter, who we see ourselves. And it's not just your given name. It is the other names that you receive as well, whether it's daughter or son or parent or co-worker or teacher, lots of friend. So we have all these names that we collect throughout our lifetime. And they tell us something about who we are, at least in the eyes of the person who uses that name. Names matter. And I hope that what we do is in life is that we focus on the names that are positive, that give us an identity that's worth living into. Like Simon's name being changed to Peter. That was a name worth living into. And a few scriptures over from that, when Jesus tells the disciples, "Listen, we're now going to be heading into Jerusalem," Peter says, "No, you can't go there." And what does Jesus say? He says, "Get behind me, Satan." He rebuked him. He wanted him to know, you don't get to tell me where I am going. But if Peter only focused on that word, if he hadn't already heard the word Peter and rock, it might be very easy for Peter to feel defeated or rejected and to feel like a failure. But in that moment, there was a teaching moment. But what Jesus needed him to hold on to was the name that he had given him just a few days earlier by calling him Peter. How often do we remember the words that people call us that are not nice, that are painful, that are hurtful? It may, and sometimes, be truthful, and we need to accept that, but we don't have to continue to live into that, right? So think about all the times. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and she's a young adult. She's really struggling right now because so much of her identity growing up has been negative. She hasn't heard very often, well done, you are a gift, you matter, you have a future that is full of adventure and love and life, and live into that. Instead, what this young adult has heard growing up is, you're stupid, you're not capable, you're not perfect, therefore you're not lovable. And these things have gotten into her head, and these are labels that she has taken into her, and that's perfectly normal. That is what happens to us. We have to be very careful with our words, particularly with our children, but really for everyone, that we're mindful that when we say these negative words, it is absorbed and taken on by people, but we need to be about bringing life through our words, allowing people to know that you are beloved. You are cherished. You do have a future. You do have life. You have God, and you are a child of God, and that makes you beloved to him and to all of us. So I just encourage us today to be careful of our words as we share them, and remembering that we all need a word of encouragement. We need words spoken over us that we can live into, not just for today, but for tomorrow and the future as well. They're important. They help define who we are. But the most important name of all is beloved child of God. There's no failure in that. There's no rejection in that. There's no unworthiness in that. Being God's child and being created in the image of God. And by the way, the image of God is love. So being created in all of that should inspire us and nurture us and encourage us to live into the calling that God has given to us. That's really important that we do that for one another, that when we see each other, that we encourage one another. I'll share this one quick story about a little girl who was in our church. She's 3, and because we are doing some remodeling in our sanctuary, the direction for where the children's church, when they exit, the kids exit, they exit back out from the narthex onto the parking lot, and then they go over to their room. And they used to come down front to where the chancellor stage is and run out that side door. Well, everybody else was running down the aisle to the back, but this one sweet little precious girl, she got turned around, and she was going back to what was familiar to her. And so she stopped at that door because that door is blocked now. She can't go out that door. And so I walked up to her, and someone had already taken her by the hand and was turning her around. And then I took her other hand, and I was going to lead her down the aisle and out the back door. And she just went with me so trustingly. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, she trusted her pastor. It was, okay, wherever you're leading me, I may not know where it is, but you do, and I trust in that. Well, a little bit later on, a few hours later, her mother messaged me and said that after her daughter had taken a nap, the 3-year-old, she woke up and she said, Pastor Teresa has a warm face, a smiling face, and a warm hand, and my little hand fit into her hand. Now, I'm paraphrasing that, but of course, when I read it, I'm in complete tears, right? Because of the trust that she has. And I want that little girl to always know every day of her life that there will be a hand she can hold. And one day that she will be in a position where she will reach and take another person's hand to help lead and guide and direct and love and care for and encourage and call a name that is loving and encouraging, beloved child of God. May each of us go through this day realizing that we are deeply and dearly loved by God, and there is nothing that can separate us from that. And that's a name worth living into. Beloved, I hope to see you soon. Beloved, go forth and be blessed. Amen.